Welcome back to Mr. C's cooking experiment. Today we're going to do something exciting and new. We're going to do a vegan dish. Actually, we're going to be doing stuffed tomatoes, 3 different kinds, with 3 different stuffings. One with tofu and beets, another one with quinoa and avocado, and a third one that's going to have a ratatouille in it. We're going to throw some sliced truffle in there and do a sauce that's made out of kale with a little touch of cumin. Mr. K is here today, Rich Kowalix. He has a great wine from Sicily that he's going to tell you about. And without further ado, let's get on with the ingredients, shall we? Let's talk about the tomatoes now. These are heirloom tomatoes, organic, that we have taken out the pulp and the seeds and made them hollow. I also want to make a point here that at the bottom of these, we have, if you can see this, we've cut off part of the bottom so it's flat and it'll be able to stay on the plate without rolling off. So we've done this to 3 tomatoes, and I started to blister this tomato. I wanted to show you how this is done. So take a blowtorch, right? A blowtorch, you can see this, and you go around the edges. You'll hear the skin crack as well. Get a nice charred look on there around the whole thing, and then you can do the lids as well. Some of that stem will char on you, but that is fine though, because it gives it that real grill look. So that is how you blister the tomatoes. Here is filling number 1, the quinoa avocado filling. So I took half a cup of quinoa, followed the instructions. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, cooked it in water. All right, I have half an avocado that I've diced, 1 large basil leaf julienne. It's about a tablespoon. I have a tablespoon of Brunoise red pepper and 1 clove of garlic minced. This all gets mixed together very quickly, efficiently right here. And we're going to put about half a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, really good olive oil. Add that in. So, add some salt to it. We're going to add some pepper to it as well. Right. I'm just going to lightly mix it together. This will be filling number 1. If you can tell, a lot of the components of the things that we're going to do today could really make salads on their own, but they're going to go very well together in the plate. So that is going to be the quinoa filling. For our next filling, it's going to be a tofu and braised red beet filling. These 2 get mixed together, again with extra virgin olive oil, and then we're going to garnish that, I'm going to show this close to you, with a couple slices of nice summer truffle. It's going to add some nice, beautiful mushroom flavor to it. But again, as you can see, we're going to be able to put all of this together. These beets will bleed in here very well and kind of turn all of that tofu a little bit reddish purple. We're going to add in some, move that closer, pepper, some salt, a little bit of extra virgin there. By the way, organic extra virgin, just so you know. Then all gets mixed together. That gets put to the side, and as you can see, that is already turning that tofu nice and pink already. It's going to be beautiful in the end when it's in that tomato. And now the last filling before we move on to the stove work. It's ratatouille. We have some seeded diced tomato, about a third of a cup here, third of a cup of zucchini, third of a cup of eggplant. We have a tablespoon of garlic, about a third of a cup of really finely diced red onion. And here is the pulp from the tomatoes that we had cored out. We're going to use that in this part of the dish. So that's going to be the third filling. Just very quickly though, we're going to move on and just tell you that the kale sauce, all right, is about 3 cups of flowering kale that's going to be blanched in hot water, and then we're going to put it in a blender. We're going to use some xanthan gum. We're going to show you how to put that all together and how we make that process work. Okay, it's ratatouille time. So we've got a couple tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in here, and we're going to start sauteing up our veg here. I'm going to start with the tomato, zucchini, and eggplant. And you can see they're very small. That's going to fit inside that tomato when it's done. You'll notice this recipe has, seems like a lot of bulk, but it really does make enough for 6 tomatoes. So you can make 2 dishes. So have a friend over and try it out for them. Now we're going to add in the garlic and red onion. We've been sauteing for this now about 5 minutes. Add in that tomato pulp out of there. I'm going to cook that till it's just about dried out. For about another 5 minutes, but don't forget to season with salt and pepper to your liking. Turn the heat down, let that go for another 5 minutes. All right, so very quickly for the kale, you have some boiling water. We're just going to drop the kale in there, chopped up. Right. The point in showing you this is it does not take very long at all for this to turn green and actually cook. We're going to leave it in there for maybe 30 seconds. When we drain it, we're going to put it into a strainer, right? And then we're going to reserve this water because you may need it when we start pureeing the kale in the food processor, which we're going to move on to right now. All right, let's finish the kale sauce here. We are going to put our kale in here, like so. You can see it's still steaming. I also have some of the broth left. We're going to just a little bit of that in right now. We're going to be using 1/8 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum in this recipe. I'll show you when you're going to put it in. And 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, which we're going to put in right now, actually. So, okay, very good. So you start pureeing. Now you make sure that you want to take down some of the sides here. Wow, you can smell that cumin right away. Add a little bit of this liquid, keep it going a little bit more. Probably in total you're going to use 1/4 cup when putting this together. Scrape the sides. right here. I'm gonna let that puree for about 5 minutes. All right, so we have pureed this enough right now. Now is the time we're going to add our salt and pepper. Turn this back on. This, folks, is when we add the xanthan gum in. Almost right away, you can hear that motor change. So let's take a look and see how we did here. Yep. So here. Okay, so very quickly, just to show you, with a spoon, we have ourselves a nice green sauce there. It's going to look beautiful on the plate. All right, let's plate this beautiful food. I'm going to start with some sauce here first. Put 3 dollops here, one for each tomato. I didn't mention, technique here, like that, like that, like that, one for each tomato. If I did not mention, this has 31 grams of protein, 67 grams of carbohydrates, and the good carbohydrates, the complex carbs, even with the quinoa. All right, so here is the ratatouille. Here is the quinoa. Here is the tofu, and as you can see that. It's a nice sliced truffle over there. Now we're going to finish up with a little bit of garnish here. This, we're just going to throw a little bit of basil over there, like so. We have some toasted almonds that we're going to put around the plate here. A little extra protein. These are raw almonds that were just lightly pan roasted. Then here we put the tops on lightly. Like that, so when they open them up, they'll see the garnish. There is vegan stuffed tomatoes. Hopefully you'll all very much enjoy them as you make them. I hope you enjoyed this video.
Hello, Chef. I have to admit that you gave me a real challenge this time. That wonderful vegan dish with the trio of tomatoes, with everything that you have going on in it, from the kale sauce, the blistered tomatoes, the quinoa, the tofu, the beets, the slivered almonds, everything really made me think, wow, what kind of a wine can I do that will go with all of these components? So usually when I'm puzzled, my mind goes to Italy, and that's where I've gone. Specifically, I've gone to Sicily, and I've chosen a wonderful Sicilian red. This is Benanti Etna Rosso 2017. This is a beautiful wine. It is grown at the foot of Mount Etna in southern Sicily. If you know anything about wine growing, you know that volcanic soil is fabulous for grapes. And so we have Mount Etna, which is an occasionally active volcano, which produces incredible volcanic soil that is great for growing these grapes. The grapes are probably grapes that no one watching this video has ever heard of. They are Nerello Mascalese and Nerello Cappuccio, but this wine shows up a lot like an old world Burgundy. So think Pinot Noir. There is a lightness in the color around the edges. It is not that real dark, concentrated red that you would expect from Sicilian wines like Nero d'Avola. This is an elegant wine. It has smokiness and tarriness in the nose. It also has some beautiful red fruits in it and in the mouth. Perfect acidity, a little bit of tannin, fruit comes through. It's a really beautiful, elegant, easy to drink wine. Etna Rosso is in the $20 to $25 a bottle range. This one is right there too. So it's something that will certainly complement that great vegan trio of tomatoes dish that you put together. I so wish I could be down there with you so we could try this all together, but that will have to wait for another time. In the meantime, take care and see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. K, for that wonderful wine selection from Sicily. Grapes grown at the foot of Mount Etna. Fantastic, right? So vegan tomatoes. I think if you look at these 3 tomatoes and deconstruct them, you could really make a salad out of each stuffing for yourself, even with the quinoa, even the ratatouille and the tofu, the truffles. It all works very, very well together and separately. So hopefully you enjoyed this recipe and you'll enjoy making it as well. If you subscribe, please do. Hit the button so you get notifications when I make new videos. Until next time, if you eat well, you're going to be well. Thanks for watching.